Welcome to another episode of Equip Corner's Book Corner. Today I'll be hosting Debbie, who I always have a wonderful laugh with. You'll see her bio right after this. Join us in the Book Corner. Welcome back to the Equip Corner's Book Corner, Debbie.
Thank you so much for having me, Ada. I appreciate it. I've been looking forward to talking to you again.
Yes, I'm already chuckling because of all the previous laughs we've had.
I always enjoy talking to you. We always have such good times.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And congratulations on the award on If Chickens Could Shop. The Chicken Could Shop.
That's right. Thank you. That meant a lot to me. And my chickens are giving me more adventures even as we speak.
Nice. Okay. So which book are we talking about today?
Well, actually, we are talking about my parenting humor book entitled The Toilet is Overflowing and the Dog is Wearing My Underwear. Now, as you know, in previous times I've been speaking with you, I've dressed a little bit more formal, but as a mother yourself, you know, you're doing good if you can remember where you put your car keys.
Yes.
So I wore a shirt today, I don't know if you can see it, that says Got Coffee.
Okay. Yeah, I see the coffee. Yes.
It is
yes. Okay. I you addressed the part, obviously. You have your props, your coffee to help.
I do. I have to have it in order to be able to form complete sentences some days.
So what made you write that book? Before we talk about the title, what made you write it?
Well, I'm a big fan of Erma Bombeck. If you remember years ago, whenever we were younger, Erma Bombeck was a very prominent humor writer who wrote about parenting humor, yes, her adventures with her children. And she's the type of writer that whenever I read some of her stories, I would just burst out laughing.
Yeah.
And I started thinking, you know, and I've said it earlier, that humor can be found in almost every situation.
Yes.
And I know with my children, they've given me so many adventures. It's either find a little spark of humor in them or sit in the corner going, blah, 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 blah,
yeah,
and eating mounds of chocolate. So I thought maybe I can bring the humor to the parenting community. Maybe it's stories they can empathize with and saying, you know, life is short.
Yes.
You know, how many occasions will you have in this world where your children put your underwear on the dog and let it parade through the living room whenever company is coming over, or they want to see if your cell phone can float, so they throw it in the toilet? Life is too short to get real bent out of shape, and it's important to find humor whenever and wherever you can.
Yes, that is so true. You know, the age-old saying, laughter is the best medicine, still holds true.
You're right. It's absolutely correct. Like, for example, yesterday I spoke about my chickens, and we just got through talking about finding humor and everything and it being the best medicine. My chickens attacked my groceries yesterday as I put them on the porch. And you haven't lived until you've tried to wrestle pork chops away from a chicken. Chickens are omnivores, meaning they eat meat and vegetation.
Yes.
And this particular chicken was not pleased with me. They free range during the day.
Okay.
And they were happy to see me, and they were even happier that I put the groceries
within reach.
Within their reach. I was just opening the door, and there she is. But it was aggravating at first. But I thought, how many, it's funny because there's not many very occasions where you would have that kind of experience.
Mhm.
So later on, I laughed and I shared it with my friends, and I'm sharing it with you, another
Yeah,
friend.
I'm just picturing it in my mind.
You should have seen it. It was definitely different.
For sure. Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
You're so right. We need to, especially in these times where, there's a lockdown and there's this and there's that. There's so much happening in the world that can really, really put you under if you let it.
Exactly. And laughter is also something that connects us. It's total strangers.
Yes.
You can share a laugh with a stranger, even in the grocery store.
Yeah.
For example, there was a man yesterday that stepped to the left as I was trying to get by, and I stepped to the left, and he stepped to the right, and I stepped to the right. And I looked at him and said, well, if you'd like to lead, I guess I'm ready to dance. And
I say that all the time, when we do those steps, I'm like, shall we dance?
exactly.
And it always brings out a chuckle.
Right. And you never do know. That might be the only laughter they have that day and that you have that day. So
yeah,
it connects us. You're
does.
Right. It is medicine that's good for the soul.
Yes, you're right. You're right. Yeah. So can you read something from, I don't know why I'm laughing so much already. Can you read something from your book to us, please?
Absolutely. I'll be glad to. It is a collection of parenting stories in the Irma Bombeck style. And keeping parenting is my theme in mind, I wanted to read June and the Gang Would Be Proud. Now, you remember back in our day, the June Cleaver, Beaver's mother?
Oh, no, I don't remember, but.
It was, she was in the older sitcom. She wore the beads, the pearls around her neck, and everything was perfect. I think the most startling thing was she ran out of dish detergent or something, and nothing ever startling, nothing ever earth-shattering ever really happened. Everything was perfect.
Picture perfect.
Right. It's kind of based on that genre of those TV shows. But June and the Gang would be proud. As an adolescent, I believe parenting would be a breeze.
Mm-hmm.
If I'd have known motherhood until fishing cell phones from toilets and pulling Cocoa Puffs out of noses, I'd have become a nun. I would have evicted baby chicks from my playhouse, swaddled dolls, and listened to every conversation about hemorrhoids, infant bowel movements, and coupons my mother's quilting group had. Instead, TV characters were my role models. I watched soap opera starlets tell their lovers they were pregnant. And the next episode, these same women carried the baby 9 months, obliterated drug cartels, and gave birth, all with hair and makeup intact. And June Cleaver could plan a school fundraiser, knit a sweater, and solve the beaver's problems and have supper for Ward in less than 30 minutes. Being a parent was simple. Mm-hmm. Reality bit a few days after I had my first child, Jonathan. Just change the diaper, then you're set to go home, Nurse Gertrude said, handing me the baby. I struggled to take a deep breath. This was the test I'd failed. I imagine years later, Jonathan appearing on talk shows, saying I had the parenting instincts of a kumquat and wrecked his life. I couldn't blame him. I didn't prepare for this new challenge in my life. I hadn't bothered reading many books. None of the authors could explain my bladder's love affair with gas stations or why my ankles decided to morph into cantaloupes. Parenting classes were a mistake too. I already knew how to breathe. The teacher lost credibility when she had us place clothespins on our earlobes, stimulating labor. My mother always told me, babies come from you know where. The last time I checked, the ear canal wasn't you know where. Now I stared at the patterns in the floor, searching my brain for knowledge I'd acquired over the last few months. How about storage bags? I suggested. Everything stays fresher with Ziploc. We could cut leg holes. My confidence waned as Nurse Gertrude stared at me, incredulous. She was a no-nonsense woman, having little patience with inept parents, and judging from her deepening scowl, a cannibalistic hamster would beat me out for Mother of the Year. I thought that was the last parental hurdle I'd overcome. Again, I was wrong. The next several months were an educative experience. Jonathan learned to time his outbursts the minute my head touched the pillow. I discovered the meaning of sleep deprivation. I diapered cakes and frosted the baby. Car keys hid behind bags of peas in the freezer, and I tried to start the car with fish sticks. Shopping, something I'd excelled at in the past, became harder than stealing cocoa from a chocoholic. I perused grocery store aisles, thumping bald produce men in the head to check for ripeness, and tried taking naps in the bakery. Managing a household and raising a child wasn't easier. Once I shoved a pacifier in the fee-collecting paperboy's mouth and handed Jonathan a $20 bill. We never received another newspaper, and it's no wonder my now teenage son expects money every time he cries. I believe my parenting skills have improved over the years. I can fix a drain, cook a roast, and unstop a toilet, all while helping with algebra homework. The other day, I disrupted a band of cookie-selling Girl Scouts and confiscated their supply. June and the soap opera moms would be proud.
Yes. If you go by TV, you have a disaster waiting for you.
Well, thank you.
Wow, thanks for sharing that. Oh, wow.
I'm glad you liked it.
Nice. I'm sure even my viewers would love it, and they'd say, how can I get that book?
Well, actually, you can find it on Amazon.com, or
Okay.
you can contact me at debbieropolo@gmail.com, or send me a message on Facebook. I'm under Debbie Ropolo. But there's one thing that I learned too, and I'm sure you're the same way. Our mothers made parenting look so easy,
Yes.
so simple.
Yeah.
And it's, some of the things that I experience as a mother, I now understand why this woman who raised me got gray hair prematurely and
Yep.
always looked like her face was frozen in a permanent shocked expression. You know yourself, parenting is such a challenge. And as I said before, I know I'm being repetitive, and I'm sure you'll agree, you've got to find the humor. Life is too short. Relax.
It is.
Nothing's too devastating.
I agree. And it takes a type of personality to have that mindset. But when you get it, I think it's important to never lose it.
I think you're right. I think you're right. I grew up with a snarky sense of humor and a little bit of a twisted sense of humor, but sometimes it just takes adapting.
Yeah, it's important to have it. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Well, thanks again for being my guest in the Crip Corners Book Corner, Debbie.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. It's always so much fun to talk to you and to share with you and spend a few minutes.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, well, thank you again for having me.
You're welcome. See what I mean? Just seeing Debbie makes me laugh because of how much she makes me laugh. Parenting, yeah. If you don't have a sense of humor, you'll be depressed for a long time. Well, you'll find information on how to get her book, that one that she shared, and her other books. You'll get that information below this video. See you in another episode. Bye now.